It's the evening of my first day here at the coast property this year. All last year while I was here, in the evening I'd make camp right here, spend the night here, at least most of the time. But this year, we're going to do things a little bit differently a lot of the time. Last summer, some viewers suggested I should build a cabin on my coast property. But my family's ranch here is just down the road a few miles. It already has 4 cabins on it. Whenever the subject would come up of what to do with those downed trees on the coast property, someone would say, build a cabin out of them. Since I have access to these cabins when I'm in the area, I haven't been motivated to build one over there. My grandfather built this one long before I was around. Tomorrow we'll get up early in the morning, we'll go up to the family forest land that my great-grandfather bought over 100 years ago. We call it Up the Mountain because it's up the mountain. Mountain. It's about 3 miles up this road that starts on a neighboring ranch and about a 2,500 foot elevation gain. Long before there was ever a road up the mountain, my great-grandfather used mules to pack all the building materials up there to have a cabin built. Over 100 years later, it's still up there, we still use it. Being close to the coast, there's enough rainfall and snow melt. Almost every major gully on this mountain has a year-round creek. A little bit of upper level wildfire smoke in the air. It's all up high though, it's not making it down this low. Drifting in from the wildfires that are happening inland right now, where it's really hot and dry. Here on the coast, it's a cooler, wetter climate. We are not as wildfire prone here. This is what happens when you have the largest vehicle of anyone who uses the road. You get to be the one who cuts all the junk out of the road. My dad drives a Ford Ranger, my uncle drives a Jeep. When things start getting into the road, all they have to do is wait around for me to come along because I have to clean it out in order to get my big truck through. It's a smart strategy. They're no dummies. Look at this big old Douglas fir. They can get really big here on the coast. They just don't know when to stop growing. And when you have the newest, shiniest vehicle, you get to be the one that cleans all the junk out of the road. If you're lucky enough to have an older, already scratched up vehicle, you don't have to care about these things. I was trying to think of what is smaller than a Ford Ranger and a Jeep, but it's still four-wheel drive. Whatever that is, if I got one of those, one that's older and less shiny than their rigs, I could get right through here no problem. When the brush started encroaching into the road, then they would have to clean all the junk out of the road. There are bears in these thar hills. Stop at the spring, fill up my water jugs. This is just one of the springs on the side of this mountain, gushing out cold, clean, tasty water. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it before, but I kind of like mountain spring water. This tree is high enough for a Ford Ranger to go under, or a Jeep, but it's too low for a Ford Super Duty to go under. They can drive right under it, no problem. Then when I come along, I have to cut it out of my way to get through. These guys have been outsmarting me for years. It's about time I learn how to outsmart them. I need something smaller than a Jeep and a Ford Ranger. As we get above 4,000 feet in elevation, we get into a different summer air mass. The top of this mountain sticks up above the coastal marine air below. In the winter it gets plenty of rain and snow, but in the summer it's a warmer, drier air mass than the cooler coastal marine air down below. This is the typical summer pattern here. That's why up here we have ponderosa pine, incense cedar. It's a little rare to have these kind of trees this close to the coast, but this is one of the highest mountains in this area. That took a lot longer than this video might suggest it did. 3 miles is a lot of road cleaner uppering. That took so much of the day, there's not much time to get into anything else. My dad says one of the big white firs up by the spring died. Let's go take a look at it, see if it's worth doing anything with. That one right there. It's big. I'd have to get it to push by this cedar. After it passes this cedar, there's a hole between that white fir and this black oak for it to fall through. It'll do a little bit of damage coming down, but there'll be a lot of wood in here. Then the question is, how sound is it inside? It has this seepy area. The base of it has this hole that goes in quite a ways. That could be just the way the butt swell grew. Doesn't necessarily mean there's rot. White fir can be really prone to rot, especially one this old. This would be hundreds of years old. White fir is not the best wood, but this could have some really clear, tight-grained wood in it. Let's go take a look at the spring. I don't know if you know this, but I like springs. They are such a concept. Cold, clean water just flows right out of the mountain. Right over here is where it comes out of the ground. Comes out of the ground right here. What a concept. It's been a long day. I'm gonna go back down to the lower house, get in the pool, have something to eat, and think about a small vehicle, something smaller, older, less shiny than my dad's Ranger and my uncle's Jeep.